Her brother texted me the night before the wedding. You deserve better. Ask her about Vegas. I did. She froze. And that's when her maid of honor stood up and said, You didn't tell him? My name is Adam. I'm 30 years old, and I was supposed to get married last Saturday. Everything was set. The venue was booked. The rings were polished. Her dress was hanging by the window, still untouched. She had even written me a letter, sealed in an envelope that read, To my future husband. But the night before the wedding, I got a text that changed everything. It was from her brother, a guy I had never really been close with. Never had a real conversation with him that lasted more than a few minutes. He always struck me as the quiet one, more of an observer than a participant. But that night, at 11:47 p.m., his message came through. You deserve better. Ask her about Vegas. Just 6 words. No follow-up. No explanation. And even though I stared at that message a dozen times, something inside me knew it wasn't a prank. This wasn't some misunderstanding. That message was deliberate. And it was a warning. I didn't sleep that night. I laid there, in the hotel suite I had booked for our wedding weekend, watching the ceiling fan spin like a slow clock. Every time I closed my eyes, I imagined her face, smiling, laughing, dancing in that white dress, while this hidden shadow hovered behind it all. Ask her about Vegas. She'd told me it was a low-key bachelorette trip. Just her, her maid of honor Riley, and 2 childhood friends. 4 days at some resort off the strip. Brunches, spa days, poolside cocktails. She'd sent pictures, nothing suspicious. I even FaceTimed her one night when she was in the hotel room, wearing pajamas and half asleep. But now I realized she was always the one who called me. And always during the day. Never at night. Never when she was out. And I never once questioned it. Around 6:30 a.m., I finally got up and stepped out onto the hotel balcony. The city was quiet, misty. You know those weird, hollow moments when the world is wide awake, but you feel like the only one standing still? That was me. I had a fiancée sleeping a few miles away, a wedding scheduled for the afternoon, and a knot in my gut that wouldn't go away. I waited until 8 o'clock. Then I called her. She picked up quickly. Hey babe, big day, she said with that same cheery voice. I didn't say anything at first. Just breathed in. Adam, she said again. That's when I asked, flatly, what happened in Vegas? There was a pause. Not even a gasp. Just absence. Like the signal dropped, except it hadn't. She didn't say a word. Seconds stretched. My heart started racing, not because she was yelling or denying it, but because she wasn't doing either. She was silent. Finally, she said quietly, Who told you? I didn't answer that. I just waited. She said, I swear it wasn't serious. That's when I heard movement behind her. Someone else in the room. Whispering. Then another voice, sharper, familiar. It was Riley, her maid of honor. Suddenly, Riley's voice cut through the speaker. Not angry, not even surprised. Just fed up. You didn't tell him? She snapped. You were really gonna let him marry you without saying a word? It was like time stopped. I was still standing on that balcony, phone pressed to my ear, holding on to what little hope I had left. And just like that, it slipped. Because in that moment, everything changed. I drove straight to her hotel. No calls. No texts. No warnings. I didn't even know what I was going to say when I got there. I just remember seeing the exit sign on the freeway, flipping the turn signal, and letting my hand steer while my thoughts spun in circles. There were 2 hours left until we were supposed to start getting ready for the ceremony. Our families were probably already dressing. Her mother had flown in from Vermont. My dad had rented a suit that didn't quite fit him. The florist had delivered hundreds of white orchids to the venue by sunrise. And I wasn't heading to the altar. I was walking toward the kind of truth people try to keep buried under charm and champagne. I knocked once. Riley opened the door. She didn't look surprised to see me. Her hair was still in rollers, and she was barefoot, but her eyes were steady. She's in the bedroom, she said. You should talk to her. I walked in. The room was quiet. No music, no TV. Just the low hum of air conditioning and the faint sound of someone breathing deeply, like they were practicing for a conversation they'd been avoiding for too long. My fiancée, her name's Danielle, stood by the window, still in her robe, back to me. Her phone was in her hand, but the screen was dark. She didn't turn around. I didn't sleep with him, she said softly. My jaw tensed. So who was he? Still no eye contact. He was someone I knew back in college. He happened to be in Vegas. It wasn't planned. I took a breath. So what happened? She turned then, finally facing me. Her eyes were red. She hadn't cried yet, but she'd clearly been trying not to. I saw him at the hotel bar. We talked. Just caught up. I'd had too much wine. He asked if I wanted to go somewhere quieter. I followed. We ended up in a cab. I don't remember all of it. That last sentence made something inside me crack. She didn't remember all of it, but she remembered enough to know she shouldn't have done it. Enough to keep it hidden. How long were you going to keep that from me? I asked. She stepped forward, almost like she was going to touch my hand, but stopped mid-step. I thought if I told you, I'd lose you. So you decided to lie instead? That's when Riley stepped into the room. She didn't just lie, she said. She made all of us lie too. Danielle's head snapped toward her. Riley, don't. No, Riley said, folding her arms. You made me promise I wouldn't tell. You made me keep it quiet. I told you it was wrong. I told you it would come back to bite you. And now here we are. Danielle was shaking slightly now. I didn't mean for it to go this far. I looked between them. So this wasn't just a moment of bad judgment, I said. You had time to come clean. You chose not to. She didn't argue. That, somehow, hurt more than anything she could have shouted. I stood there for another minute. I think I was waiting for something. An apology that would make it better. A confession that would make it make sense. But there wasn't one. So I turned around and walked out. Riley didn't try to stop me. But just before the door closed behind me, I heard Danielle say something under her breath. It was quiet, barely audible, but I caught it. I thought he was just a memory. And in that moment, I realized she hadn't just betrayed me. She'd been carrying someone else in her heart, even while planning a life with me. By the time I reached the venue, the parking lot was already half full. My best man, Jordan, was standing by the catering van with a to-go coffee and a checklist. He gave me a confused look as I got out of the car, still in jeans and a plain t-shirt. No suit, no tie, not even a pressed shirt. You good? He asked. I didn't answer right away. I just looked past him toward the entrance, where guests were starting to trickle in. Women in pastel dresses. Men adjusting ties in their reflections on the glass. Jordan stepped closer. Adam, what's going on? I looked him in the eye. We're not getting married today. The checklist dropped to his side. What? I'm not calling it off, I said. Not yet. But it's not happening today. I walked inside, ignoring the glances and greetings, straight to the event manager. Her name was Valerie, and she was adjusting flower centerpieces when I tapped her on the shoulder. There's been a change in plans, I said. No ceremony. No reception. I'll pay in full. Just make sure the food gets donated somewhere. Anything open bar related, cut it. If people want to stay and eat, let them. She blinked. You're serious? I wish I wasn't. Then I turned and walked back outside. A few minutes later, I heard murmurs. The bridal party had arrived. Danielle stepped out of a black SUV in full hair and makeup. She looked flawless. But her face gave it away. She wasn't walking into a wedding. She was walking into something else entirely. Jordan caught my arm. Adam, talk to me. What happened? I pulled him aside and gave him the short version. Not every detail. Just enough. He stood there for a while, staring at the grass. Damn, I know. Danielle was standing at the venue entrance now. Her mom was talking to her, confused, maybe even panicking. Guests were starting to realize something was off. No music, no aisle, no white chairs lined up. Just a half-decorated ballroom and an announcement waiting to happen. I walked up to the mic. Jordan tried to stop me. You sure about this? Yeah. I tapped the mic twice and cleared my throat. Hi everyone. I began, my voice carrying across the room. Thanks for coming today. I know this isn't what you expected to hear, but I just wanted to say thank you for showing up. People went quiet. There won't be a wedding today, I continued. We're working through something personal, and I'm asking for privacy, for both of us. There were gasps, murmurs. One woman dropped her purse. A chair scraped loudly against the floor. I didn't look at Danielle. I didn't need to. I could feel the weight of her stare. My parents approached me shortly after, concern written across their faces. Is this about what her brother said? My dad asked. I looked up at him. You knew? I said. He nodded slowly. He came to me last night. Asked what I'd do if it was Mom. I swallowed hard. And what did you say? I said I wouldn't go through with it. Not if I didn't trust her. I glanced at Danielle. She was now sitting by the window in the back of the room, surrounded by her bridesmaids, but somehow completely alone. I didn't hate her. That's what shocked me the most. I wasn't angry in the way people expect. I didn't want revenge. I didn't want to humiliate her. I just wanted to be somewhere else. Somewhere honest. And that's when her brother walked in. He scanned the room, spotted me, and walked over. I figured you got the message, he said quietly. Why'd you do it? I asked. Why tell me? He didn't hesitate. Because I've watched her destroy people she loves before. I wasn't about to watch her do it to someone who actually loved her back. He patted my shoulder and walked away. By 4 p.m., the venue looked like a ghost town. The DJ had packed up his booth without playing a single song. The caterers were boxing up untouched hors d'oeuvres. Someone had started collecting the orchids into buckets. I stayed until the room emptied out, just sitting in the back row, watching the aftermath of a celebration that never happened. Eventually, she walked in. Danielle had changed out of her dress. She wore a plain blue sweater and jeans, hair undone, makeup barely clinging on. She sat 3 chairs away from me. Neither of us spoke for a long time. Finally, she whispered, I don't even know where to start. Try the beginning, I said, keeping my eyes on the centerpiece in front of us. Not the Vegas part. Before that. She exhaled. I didn't think I deserved you. That caught me off guard. You cheated because you felt unworthy? She shook her head. No. I kissed him because for 1 second, I felt like the old me. The reckless me. The version that didn't belong in a life with someone like you. I turned to face her. You were supposed to be my safe place. And I thought I was yours. You were, she said quickly. You still are? But I panicked. I saw everything coming together. The house, the wedding, the plans, and I wondered if I was really ready for forever. I let her speak. Not because I agreed, but because I needed to hear how she justified dragging us into this mess. I saw him in the hotel lobby, she said. It wasn't planned. I hadn't seen him in 5 years. He was there for a convention. We got a drink, and I didn't think twice about it until it was too late. I didn't ask what too late meant. I didn't need to. She added, nothing happened after that night. I blocked him. I came home and didn't touch the ring for a week. I thought about telling you every day. But you didn't. She nodded slowly. Then, for the first time that day, I let my anger show. You let me write vows, I said. You let me look at you like you were the one person I could bet my life on. You stood next to me for engagement photos. You let me plan a honeymoon. Danielle's voice broke. I know. No, you don't, I said. You can't say you know and keep doing it anyway. You don't know. She looked down at her hands. I never meant for Riley to get involved, she murmured. I just needed someone to talk to. And she made me swear I'd tell you eventually. You lied to her too, I said. I lied to everyone. Silence again. Then Riley appeared. She had changed out of her bridesmaid dress, now holding a makeup bag and a pair of flats in one hand. I left my stuff in the back, she said, glancing at both of us. But I figured you'd want to know. He didn't just show up in Vegas. Danielle looked confused. Who? The guy from college, Riley said. He didn't just happen to be at the same hotel. He was invited. Danielle froze. What are you talking about? He told me himself, Riley said. After you passed out that night, he tried messaging me. Said you texted him the address days before. Danielle's face went pale. I didn't, she stopped. But something in her eyes said maybe she had. Maybe part of her wanted it. Riley gave me a long look, then quietly walked away. Danielle whispered, barely audible. I didn't remember doing that. But now, even she didn't sound convinced. I left the venue just after sunset. There was no dramatic goodbye, no farewell speech, no final moment between me and Danielle. I just stood, grabbed my keys, and walked toward the parking lot like I was heading out for groceries. Before I reached my car, I heard footsteps behind me. It was Danielle. Are you leaving for good? She asked. I stopped, turned halfway. I don't know, I said honestly. She stepped closer, holding the hem of her sweater sleeves like she was trying to keep herself from shaking. I don't want to lose you, she said. But you already did, I replied. She blinked quickly, trying to hold something in, guilt, maybe. Or maybe just the weight of finally being seen. You once told me, I said, that I was the first person who ever made you feel safe. She nodded. But safety only works if both people stay still, I added. You ran. Her lips parted. I didn't plan to. I didn't go looking for it. You texted him your hotel address. She looked like she might collapse under her own shame. I wasn't being cruel. I wasn't trying to punish her with those words. I was just stating what was left, bare, ugly truth without embellishment. I loved you, I said, but I did it with my eyes closed. She tried to reach for my hand. I stepped back. I'm not saying goodbye yet, I told her, but I need space. Real space. Not the kind where we talk every night and pretend we're okay. Where will you go? She asked. I shrugged. Back to my place. Maybe to my brother's for a while. I just can't see you every day and pretend this didn't happen. She nodded, swallowing hard. Then she whispered something that hit harder than I expected. I never stopped loving you. I looked her in the eyes. I believe that, I said. But I also believe you loved someone else, too. And now, I'm not sure you know the difference. I got in the car and drove off. That night, she stayed at the hotel. Alone. Her bridesmaids went home. Her mother cried in the lobby. The man from Vegas, if he was still around, was a ghost, unmentioned, unclaimed. And Riley? She packed her things and texted me later that night. You didn't deserve this. But you did the right thing. Danielle tried to call twice. I didn't answer. The third time, she sent a message instead. Please talk to me. I don't know who I am without you. I didn't know how to respond to that. Because for the first time, I realized. I didn't know who I was with her either. The next day, her brother showed up at my apartment. He brought coffee. Didn't say much at first. Just handed me the cup, then sat down on the front steps beside me. After a while, I asked, how long did you know? He exhaled. Since the week after it happened. I stared ahead. Why didn't you tell me sooner? She made me promise. Said she'd tell you. Said it would ruin everything if I got involved. And you believed her? No, he said. I believed you didn't deserve to be blindsided on your wedding day. I nodded slowly. I appreciate what you did, I said. He looked down. I wish I'd done it earlier. We sat there for a long time. Quiet. Not angry, just tired. Before he left, he turned to me and said one last thing. She's not a bad person, he said. But sometimes, when someone's scared to lose you, they'll destroy you just to see if you'll come back. Then he got in his car and drove away. 3 days passed. No wedding photos. No honeymoon. No ring on her finger. Danielle didn't post anything. Her accounts were silent. The venue tagged us in a post with a single white rose centerpiece and a caption. Sometimes the most beautiful days are the ones we grow from. People commented. Some deleted their congratulations. Others speculated. She didn't respond to any of them. Neither did I. On the 4th morning, I woke up to find a letter slid under my apartment door. Her handwriting. Slanted, rushed, familiar. I opened it and read. Adam, I don't know where to begin. I've replayed everything. Our first date, our road trip to Michigan, the night you made me soup when I was sick, the way you looked at me when I tried on that dress. I wasn't drunk when I met him in Vegas. I was angry at myself. I was scared of you seeing who I really was. The messy, inconsistent parts one always hid behind jokes and charm. You saw the best in me, and instead of rising to meet it, I sabotaged it. I don't know if you'll ever forgive me, but I'm not asking you to rush. I'm just asking you to remember the version of us that felt like home. I'm still here, and I still love you. D. I folded the letter and left it on the table. There was nothing new in it, just emotion, regret, honesty that came too late. But it didn't make me angry, just tired. Later that afternoon, Riley called. She's been spiraling, she said. Her mom took her phone. She's been crying on and off. She keeps asking if you'll talk to her. I don't have anything left to say, I replied. She's not okay. I was quiet. Then Riley added, neither are you. I knew she was right. But I also knew pain doesn't justify pretending things can go back to how they were. Because if we went back, what would we be returning to? That weekend, Danielle showed up at my apartment. She stood outside the door for 5 minutes before knocking. I opened it and let her in. No words. No hug. Just the sound of footsteps across my hardwood floor. She sat down at the edge of the couch, clasping her hands. I don't know who to be without you, she said softly. I leaned against the wall. That's the problem. She looked up at me, confused. You can't love someone just because they hold you together, I said. You have to know who you are before you ask someone else to stay. I thought I did, she said. I nodded. So did I. There was a long silence between us. Not bitter, just still. And then she said it, what I'd been waiting to hear without realizing it. I never chose between you and him because I never really wanted him. I just didn't want to be the kind of woman who only ever felt worthy with you. I looked at her, really looked. Not the woman in a wedding dress. Not the liar from Vegas. Just a girl who made a mistake and now had no idea what to do with the wreckage. I'm not asking you to take me back, she said. I just want to know if I even belong in your life anymore. I didn't have an answer, and maybe that was the most honest thing I could offer. I walked over, sat beside her, and stared ahead. I don't hate you, I said, but I don't know what comes next. She nodded. I'll wait, she said. I shook my head. Don't. She blinked, startled. Don't wait, I said again. Go live your life. Go figure out who you are without anyone's approval. If we're meant to find each other again, it won't be because we're scared to move on. She stayed a little longer. We didn't talk much. Then she stood, gave me one last look, and walked out. We didn't speak for the next 2 weeks. I heard she started therapy. Riley texted me once to say Danielle got a new job in a smaller firm, outside the city. Her brother called once, too, just to check in. As for me, I went back to the basics. Running, cooking for myself, relearning how to enjoy silence, not filling it with hope or hurt. And one morning, I looked at the chair where she used to sit and didn't feel like something was missing. Just different. And that's the story. If you're still here, that means you're one of us. So go ahead, hit that subscribe button. I drop new chaos every single day, and trust me, tomorrow's story, it's even worse than this one.